The following is the second hour of the Pete Santilli Show on the Guerrilla Media Network at guerrillamedianetwork.com.
Okay, I'm so excited to have my next guest on. Let me tell you why I'm really excited, okay? I started reading her website. She doesn't do public appearances. She does book signings and stuff like that. But she doesn't do radio talk shows. That's what Susanna informed me. And but she's got an important, very important topic to talk about. And I call her just from from my perspective and taking a look at her writings on the internet. Her expertise, okay, and her consumer advocacy are kind of tend to have me call her a whistleblower. She's an author of a book, An Invasion of Corporate Locust. All right. Darlene Miles is a 25-plus year independent information system technology consultant. A technology consultant, she has been contractually hired as that type of a consultant by million to multi-billion-dollar corporations to help build systems for the banking industry's background system. And that's now being used by Homeland Security as a consumer risk assessment system, combining credit, background, and medical records. They're doing that unethically. The healthcare electronic patient medical record system, they're probably sharing information, computerizing complete medical facilities, health insurance billing systems, insurance systems for property, casualty, life, and health. She's had a peek under the tent as to what they're doing in the background, like what's happening on all of our computers, for instance. What you see on your screen, ladies and gentlemen, is not everything that's happening on your computer. Google knows this because their job is to give you, quote-unquote, free searching services so that way they can get into the backside of your computer and do all kinds of nefarious stuff. So my guest, she'll correct me if I'm wrong with this, but Darlene Miles has taken a peek under the tent, and she knows what's coming and what they're working on from a software technological perspective for the coming drone invasion, okay, and what that will actually mean to each and every human being. Let's talk just within the United States of America. Darlene, is that an okay introduction and an understanding of what we're going into here?
Absolutely, yes. Thank you.
Thank you for joining me.
Absolutely.
Thank you for taking the time out. I understand you don't do talk shows very much. I'm calling you a whistleblower of sorts because you've had a peek under the tent. You know what's going on. You're a consumer advocate, and you want to tell everyone, correct?
Absolutely.
Okay.
After watching and conducting work for 25 years, and of course always focusing on the ethical part of making sure that all of these systems are being developed ethically, correctly, and you always hope also under federal guidelines, which now I know that really means nothing. These, from banking to healthcare to government contractors, sadly, there is no ethics. Everything is about money. Everything is about consumer information and compiling that information and then creating basically a grid of information that can be used against every citizen. It doesn't matter race, religion. It doesn't matter male, female, or children. Every citizen is at risk. Just going back, and I'll make it brief because everything that you just mentioned, when I began to realize and wrote the book, An Invasion of Corporate Locust, I had just started the subcontract for a subcontractor, a government subcontractor. It was my first for a government subcontractor to work on a project, and it happened to have been for drone payloads. But I sincerely did not understand the components of what was the components of what we were designing from a software standpoint, because everything that I've done has been about hiring teams of individuals, teams that could be located all around the world, from India to the United States, because all of these industries look for the most qualified software developers, quality assurance analysts, business architects, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Right.
So my job is to go through and evaluate all of these people, bring them together so that we can develop these systems. When I started seeing that in every system, from banking to healthcare to the court systems, banking horribly, medical records and hospital systems horribly, a background system that was now using everything about a person that could just only come out of your home address. It could run a complete risk analysis on every single person that's ever lived in your home for the last 20 years. Now, whether this person was ever a family member or not, and it could come up in a comprehensive report. It could include everything, your credit, your background, your assets, your liabilities, the point in which you received your driver's license and where you received it, and then include your children's information and Social Security numbers. Then it can expand to your neighbors. If you want to talk about targeting every citizen within, this is what is now called a risk analysis system that is used in, sadly to say, Homeland Security.
Okay, can I share something with you?
A core piece of a background system.
Can I share
that
something
I was
with you?
working on.
Yes, can I share something with you? And I'm sorry, I'm going to do this periodically as we talk our way through this. Oh, I can't believe you're saying what you're saying, because I just thought of something. Do you know? Are you familiar with U.S. Ignites?
Yes.
Okay, U.S. Ignite. I discovered this very technology. They've already experimented with it. They have it. They just need data to pump down through it. First responders, okay, will have like Google Glass, okay. They have goggles they can put on, all right, and they're tying in facial recognition, okay.
Yes.
And if they point as a first responder, a SWAT team member, okay, that's who we'll call the first responder, and he's got his goggles on, and he points to you, he's got a bit of data on his screen as to whether or not you're friend, foe, felon, or somebody to take out right away.
And do you know why?
Why?
Because there's already been an unethical GPS sensor attached to. They're saying now 1 in 3 citizens. The goal between now and 2025 is to have every citizen attached with a sensor. It's very easy to do. They're hovering over our skies right now at 65,000 feet with so-called drones, military-style drones, like the Reaper. Okay, now in testing in the United States, Google it. Anyone can right now. The Reaper. What a name for a drone. The Reaper with sensors, GPS sensors that attach to every human body designed for scan, infrared sensors that will light you at night, so don't think you can hide from anything, and chemical and biological. Now that's where disease is being spread. Chemical and biological sensors. What is the point? I sent some information to Susanna just before this call, and they kept shutting my email down, but I wanted her to have these formal documents in her hands before we started this conversation. But yes, this is the purpose of doing so. Once you go into a hospital today, they're asking you questions that are qualifying you as whether or not you would be an effective target. One is the most god-awful, stupid question is, do you live alone? When has that ever been a medical question? I advise any person to never, ever answer that question, and if so, answer, no, I do not. That is the number one, do you live alone? Well, then here you are, you're pushed up to the higher category. I helped to build these systems. Registration. I mean, are you kidding me? Your pathology, what is your blood type? How rare is your blood type? That qualifies you as to whether or not you're a person that can be targeted. Now, you mentioned just now our first responders. I want to make sure that I'm making note here. Our first responders are targeted as well. So are the law enforcement contractors that are hired, neighborhood watch groups, those who support InfraGard and any other group that has ever been brought together for good originally, because there are good people in all of those groups. Our first responders are here to be first responders to help to save the citizens in the event of emergencies. But what they're doing now is these contractors are sending out what are called SAR reports, fake suspicious activity reports. They have the ability, because they're connected to Homeland Security, InfraGard, which is FBI and whatever else you want to add to it. Everything falls under DOD and DOJ. All of our lives fall under DOD and DOJ. So you can have a false suspicious activity report issued on any citizen in the United States. This segues to what is also called the article that the Washington Post wrote, which was called Monitoring America. I sent that to Susanna so that she could see, I'm going to say one of the first original versions, when it stated in the first 3 paragraphs.
I have it on the screen, by the way. I have it on the screen. So I have your documentation.
That thousands, well, originally they said millions of citizens were being targeted for surveillance who had never committed any crimes. But within the first version, which they were forced to remove it, and I've communicated and emailed back and forth with Dana Priest regarding these terms that were removed, is that all of these components were brought together by Homeland Security. This article was written back in December of 2010. They've been forced to revise it multiple times. And I'm going to tell you there's another key component about this that still falls right in line with these contractors, okay? These contractors, a lot of them that came on board post 9/11 on the so-called war on terror and started developing all of these systems and using that DOD directive that I sent also to Susanna, the DOD directive 5240.1-R, go down to procedure 13, and it says human experimentation for intelligence purposes. Now, that's on any U.S. person or any foreigner that is here on our soil. Now, of course, we know it expands around the world, but I'm focusing about our country because we want to see our country survive and the citizens of our country survive. This is what this is about. Every citizen is being targeted. They have created and speaking with investigators, and I shared this on my last call, that a lot of the information I initially got when you want to call me a whistleblower, but I pissed off a lot of people when I started telling the truth about these systems and how all of this information was being compiled on all consumers and now being called background information or risk assessment information, but it's your banking, it's your health care, it's your children, it's what's your property, can it be destroyed, it's your business, can it be destroyed, have you done anything illegal that they can blackmail you on? If not, then, well, okay, do you have a rare blood type? Are you white? Are you black? Do you fit in this category of what we need to spray something into your air? When you spray anything into the air over any city, you are not looking at one person. You are targeting an entire community, an entire city, an entire state. And that's why I've wanted people to move away from this so-called category of PI or targeted individuals. Every citizen is at risk right now. Every citizen is being targeted in one form or tested on in one form or another. And I'll give you some of the medical jargon that they're now using, and it gives you an idea as to whether or not you're dealing with any of the symptoms. So, fibromyalgia, right there, number one. That's when your nervous system is being attacked, the joints and muscles in your nervous system is being attacked, and generally it's being attacked because of the attachment of a sensor to your body, and that resulting of a burning, muscular, spasming pain. When in the heck did fibromyalgia get created in the last couple of years?
Yeah, just recently, right. Go ahead.
So migraines is the same thing, because the first target area, when you look at, which I did send you the medical portion of the attachment of the sensors, these are all the documents I've just sent they're government unclassified documents. There's nothing I've created. It's not even anything out of my book, because my book is about the consumer part of this. It was not about what was happening on the government side of it. But just that I found that there are the documentations that say exactly where the sensors need to be attached so that they could be the most effective. Your head, your eyes,
Darlene,
your hands.
Darlene, let me ask you something, if you don't mind. Have you heard me ever state... I'm just tying all of this in together, okay? Because we know that there's DNA profiling. They're actually taking blood, okay, from every baby that's born, and they're putting your DNA into a database. That's a fact.
Absolutely.
They are doing that. And that's being cross-referenced. This is a cradle-to-grave profiling system.
Absolutely.
We're not only all targeted, but we're all enslaved by this profiling system, correct?
Absolutely. And those who don't know that they've allowed themselves to be engaged in unethical work, or to allow yourself to, and I'm going to use the word law enforcement contractor because that's what the Washington Post used when they categorized in a Top Secret America the article going back to, I think this was July of 2009, but you can Google it, a Top Secret America, and you look at their database. Now, originally when their database was released, they released it on every contractor that they found. There was nearly 3,600. I think they've been forced by law and through legal realms to reduce that number and remove certain names and so on, but there's still, the categories are there. When you go out and look at what they're doing, just search on law enforcement contractors. These are people in the neighborhood who are being misled to be a watch group that sees something, say something, to target an innocent person in your neighborhood who's never committed any crime, and they clearly see this. But once they give their lives over and give their name and give their information to this law enforcement contractor who is a government subcontractor under Homeland Security, you are now marked for life, and so are all of your children, because they now know that you were willing to do something really that is illegal, because you're either following someone or supposedly snitching on someone or doing whatever they're asking you to do as a fake law enforcement contractor. You don't carry a badge. You don't carry a weapon. Well, I guess some of them do. If I refer back to the one person who was patrolling the neighborhood with pistols and a gun and killed someone. These people, some of them have records. I mean, a police record, criminal record. And yet and still, they're law enforcement contractors. It doesn't matter. They will pull groups of people together to have them just because they need to release, listen to this carefully, because they need to release chemicals in the air for testing, will have them descend upon an innocent individual, give them a license plate via a text message. I'm letting you know what this contractor was doing. And I could see these components, which is why I backed away. I didn't understand all of it the way that we understand it today. But this is what they were actually doing. And I say, and you're going to test this in the air, and all of these innocent people have no idea why they're descending across a freeway against an innocent person who really doesn't even probably know that all of these people are like descending cars around them. These are what they're calling these people, and they think that they work for Homeland Security. No, what they've just done is they're giving their lives. And these are millions of citizens in every state in the United States. So the issue is not a group of people you want to call targeted individuals or targeted people. The issue is the millions and millions of people who they have out there that they are really harming. Do you know that, Pete, they're testing the ability to stop engines instantly with these drones and aircraft, okay? They're testing the ability to utilize lasers to start fires. Now, there's a lot of home mysterious fires that go on, and you never, ever find out what was the result. These are the kinds of things that they're doing. They light up property. They light up individuals, and when these drones in packs, controlled by a group of people called handlers. Now, what the hell does that say? Handlers. These are people sitting behind a computer screen. Could be as big as a big screen television. And all that they're doing is descending these drones across communities at night, along with what are called hovercrafts. And if everyone would look up at night, you'll see the hovercrafts. They're slow moving. They have yellow, amber, and blue lights. They'll hover really slow around communities. All that they're doing is looking for GPS sensors, any citizen that they can find that has one. Now, this could be a child. It could be an adult. It could be a man. It could be a woman. It could be black. It could be white. It does not matter. So America really needs to wake up. And when they have you descending around the freeway at night, do you not realize that those people are, I can't imagine that they're not all censored as well as so-called law enforcement contractors. Our first responders, our police officers are even now becoming smarter about what is happening in these abuses and understanding that these drones and hovercrafts that are invading our skies at night, which are doing nothing but testing war technology, directed energy, microwave energy, are inflicting harm or killing.
By the way, let me ask you this: how high are these drones with the blue, amber? I mean, I've actually seen orbs high up, hovering over my neighborhood.
They try to hover to appear as though they're a star. But if you watch them when they begin hovering in circling neighborhoods, because they can hover all night.
Are you kidding me?
But you also find that some of them are still stuck there when the sun shines,
okay,
and they're still glowing as though they're supposed to be a star at night. Okay. You can see this in every state.
Okay,
I'm hover around really slowly, and they'll be. Sometimes they can't get their lighting correct, so they'll be like a yellowish instead of like a star. They'll create fake formats, which is really the most stupid thing in the entire world, because there are a lot of citizens who are intelligent, as it relates to astronomy, etc. But you can watch them as soon as nightfall. If it's a clear night, God have mercy, because these hovercraft, their inabilities. Let me state this correctly. They're not as successful on cloudy nights, the hovercraft, but drones can see through the wood of our home. They can see through clouds, etc. I can send you additional documentation, which is their own.
Hold on one second. Let me interrupt you. We're going to go to a break here. We are going to go to a break. Let me tell you something. What's on the screen right now, and you'll be able to go back and see this on YouTube. All right.
Okay.
Luca Zanna on the 21st of October. Okay, which was when.
Okay.
Just within the past 24 hours, he posted a video showing a hovercraft over his house doing exactly what you just described. Okay, and I have that on the screen right now. We're going to go to a break and be back with Miss Miles, Mrs. I hesitated there, Mrs. or Ms. Miles.
It's okay.
Okay.
Whatever you say is fine.
Darlene Miles is joining me, talking about stuff. And by the way, when we come back, this is what I want to hear from you. All right, this isn't stuff you've seen on the internet. Okay, this is work that you've done back channel. You have personal, first-hand knowledge of the stuff you're talking about. Correct?
Correct.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, this is somebody that I'm calling a whistleblower who believes in humanity, okay, and believes in defending humanity, and knows that we are all not only being targeted. Oh my goodness, I think we're just so far along. Let's talk about your personal experiences. I want to know how you know about these so-called orbs in a hovercraft with the lights that look like the stars. I've recorded them. Luca Zanna just did it. I have it on the screen right now. We'll be right back with Darlene Miles right after this.
Around the world 24/7, everyone's listening to the Guerrilla Media Network. Thanks to medical breakthroughs in science and surgery, there are many ways to stop the aging process we see on the surface. And now, because of the award-winning work of Dr. Joe McCord, there is a way to turn back time deep inside the cells that cause us to start aging in the first place. Oxidative stress, like the rusting of an engine, is not a good thing. Bad for the body, leading to disease, malfunction, and importantly, leading to what we call aging, the slow progression of oxidative stress. As our cells burn the food we eat, they also release toxic chemicals called free radicals. A revolutionary product called Protandim activates enzymes which not only neutralize but eliminate free radicals and slow genes associated with aging and bring you to a more youthful state of health. Protandim, the fountain of youth in a tiny yellow pill, available at gmnantiaging.com. That's gmnantiaging.com to learn more about the only product clinically proven to reduce oxidative stress by 40% within just 30 days. Satisfaction guarantee. Go to gmnantiaging.
Aloha, this is Tahiti Joe, the maker of Tahiti Joe's Hot Sauces and the Maui Pepper Company.
The saga of Tahiti Joe's hot sauces is a very tasty story. Tahiti Joe went exploring the South Seas for the spices and was easily sidetracked, but don't tell his lady.
Then, after a few months, Tahiti Joe blended a beautiful array of spices with clam juice and honey.
It had a sweet tropical flavor, and with the heat of the peppers, it reminded him of the islands.
Tahiti Joe had to name the new sauce, and Tahiti Joe's Hot Sauces was born. Try it as a chicken wing sauce.
Barbecue, marinade,
or use it to create a delicious Polynesian Mary.
So, visit www.tahitijoeshotsauces.com today to satisfy your cravings for
tropical taste sensation.
www.tahitijoeshotsauces.com. After the Fukushima disaster, people rushed to protect themselves from radiation poisoning with potassium iodide. Unfortunately, since then, beer potion salesmen rode the plume and sold products which do absolutely nothing to rid the body of harmful radiation after a nuclear disaster. Scientists are now admitting that Fukushima's cesium-137 levels are 50% higher than they originally thought, and the cancer-causing radioactive isotope, which will contaminate our soil for the next 200 to 300 years, cannot be removed from the human body with iodide-based products. Developed by food science researcher Mike Adams, this patent-pending proprietary formula of zeolites and other ingredients called Cesium Eliminator helps support your body's natural elimination of lethal cesium isotopes. Go to radiationdefender.com to learn more and order your emergency supply of the most effective radiation eliminator on the market today. If you've ingested cesium-137, you are irradiating your body from the inside out. Throw away your potassium iodide and replace it immediately with Cesium Eliminator.
Life Change Tea. Log on to getthetea.com. Find out why so many people reorder this product. The results will blow you away. If you have health problems and need help, order Life Change Tea at getthetea.com. That's getthetea.com. If it didn't work, no one would reorder. We sell a 1-year supply at a discounted rate. 2 8-ounce glasses a day helps keep sickness away. Read the numerous testimonies of how thousands and thousands have been helped by drinking Life Change Tea. Many talk show celebrities are not only talking about the tea, but using it. Feel good, lose a little weight, and enjoy your life at getthetea.com. That's getthetea.com. You can also call our friendly staff at 928-308-0408. That's 928-308-0408. Life Change Tea. All natural, USA, no caffeine, great tasting detox drink. Join the leaders who have taken control of their health. Getthetea.com.
Side where we normally see these things this night.
Okay, here we go. All right, Darlene.
Yes.
Before you answer that question that I left for the break, I want to know about your personal firsthand experiences here. Make it really, really clear. Yeah, I'm calling you whistleblowers, not like to sensationalize. I'm just saying that I'm calling you a person that is just not out on the internet just doing research and throwing stuff up there as an investigator. I'm an investigative journalist. I only had access to certain things, like when I was in the military a long time ago, corporate America, a long time ago now. But it didn't have to do specifically with all of this stuff. You have seen this stuff behind the scenes. Let me ask you this. Would you be willing, before you start talking about your experiences, would you be willing to help us out? GMN Ken, by the way, I set up that website for him so that I can take all the stuff that he gives me and we can post it on there. And he's sharing this information. He's connecting me to all these people, including you. Would you be willing to help us post some of these important documents on gmnken.com? Would you be willing to help us out with that?
Absolutely.
Okay.
These are all official documents. These are not, my writings. I being in technology, my job has always been to be, 1, ethical, 2, factual. There's a root cause for all of these things, and I had to know what it was, and then I needed to be able to bring the proper components together to make sure that a system is developed the correct way, until someone says to me that's not what they want. But neither here nor there. Absolutely. Everything that I've said to you, I have in documentation and have sent it out to thousands of people, including some in media. And these are official documents of our government, and they're unclassified documents, and they're there. And in order for me to be able to understand why, who, the what, the when, and the why, it always comes back to corporations and money, number one. Number two, there's so much that's happened in our government and in our Senate, and they've signed so many blind budgets so many blind appropriations, because you wonder, how has this been able to happen to the citizens of our country? And we've put people in Congress to protect us. And as we vote for our president, but there have been senators who have been in Congress for decades.
Mm-hmm.
And those small groups of people, small groups, I'm going to say it, you may have 10 or 20 on a committee who authorizes unmanned aerial vehicles to be now loaded with sensor payloads in a Senate appropriations budget. I sent one of those R&D budgets to Susanna before I got on the call because I knew they were going to mess around with my email, and boy, did they.
I have
it took
it
5 times just to get those documents to you.
Yeah, no, I have that. This is unclassified, Exhibit R3 cost analysis, and it was obtained where?
It was obtained from a military library that anyone can go to.
Mm-hmm.
There's globalsecurity.com.
Okay.
There's also the Library of Congress. If you really want to get to the whole 400 or 500 page document of 1, the Senate authorization, and then 2, the R&D budget justification for doing such things to the citizens of our country because it's not being done for war, the drone joint DOD targeting document, if you look at the first page there, it says this is designed for the targeting of individuals.
Say that again.
These are citizens. The targeting of individuals, groups, or there's another category because I can't look at that at the same time that I'm talking to you from a landline. So, but you have their official document. And as I said the last time I was on the phone, the documents, because I wanted to find everywhere that I could find that document and see that it still had validity with the same information in it. And it's also available in the Library of Congress.
Wow.
These are training documents that say that they use a drone to target the citizens of this country, to inject sensors, that they even talk about the targeting process of learning everything about your background. Now, how did that make me feel? I wrote a book about how background systems, banking systems, and healthcare systems were now being compiled. I didn't even know that document existed in 2007.
Yeah, this is February. I'm looking.
The drone.
I'm sorry to interrupt you. I'm looking at this. It's on the screen here, so we're doing multimedia. Dated February.
I'm not sure where they're affecting our line because I'm getting static and I'm on a landline.
Yeah, I bet you are. February 2006. The nomenclature. By the way, I'm familiar with that term. The nomenclature for this particular purchase: endurance unmanned aerial vehicles. Isn't that what is it? The X-35 project where they can leave a drone or even a like the space shuttle type vehicle up there for months, if not years, if they want to.
Well, I know that they hover. The Reaper has the ability to hover over a city for months. I have not yet read that a drone. Okay, an unmanned aerial vehicle. The satellites, they hover for years. I mean, years and years and years. But drones, and you know what? And the same damage is available now in a satellite. They are now loading sensors in satellites. But if you're using these sensors to attach to human skin, which I sent you their own sensor document that details it, and I'm going to send you more documents about this. If they're only designed to attach to human skin, these sensors cause pain. They can kill you. You can have a stroke or a heart attack if it's a chemical or biological sensor. You can be struck in the head and have an aneurysm. So if you're doing this, is someone trying to play God? Clearly. And then why is Congress allowing it to continue? Because they too are at risk.
Well, you got people. I'm sorry to interrupt you. You got people like John McCain who doesn't even know how to.
They're really messing around with our call right now, and I'm not sure if you're hearing static. If you're not hearing static that I'm hearing, I'm going to continue to speak.
Yeah, no, continue to speak. We hear you loud and clear. You have people like John.
They're affecting my line. That's what they're doing.
Okay.
But however, they can hover for months over a city, and they can hover as high as 65,000 feet. Okay, planes, FAA, some of the pilots of planes have complained about almost being intercepted or colliding with the drone. We all know that they've fallen from the skies because you got people, handlers, you and I, handlers of these drones, and they're being sent out to pick and choose whatever or whomever they want to experiment whatever technology.
Okay, so let me tell you another thing. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can.
There's an article. We're going to go over this before the end of the show, all right? But it says 9 real technologies that will soon be inside of you, okay? Implantable smartphones. I have pictures on the screen right now. They figured out how to do skin grafts and put cell phones on your skin. I'm going to go down the list. Healing chips, okay? Using cyber implants to tie directly to smartphone apps to monitor and treat diseases. This technology exists right now. Look at this. Cyber pills that, quote unquote, talk to your doctor. Because we want you to take this pill, ingest this thing, because we want to know, if you're healthy. We want it to talk to your doctor, of course. So cyber pills. Here's another one. Bill Gates' implantable birth control chip. Yeah, it's basically the Gates Foundation has an MIT project to create an implantable female computer contraceptive controlled by an external remote control, of course. But the implantation, they say, is no more invasive than a tattoo. Although they're being controlled by freaking drones, it's no more invasive than a tattoo, of course.
Sensors are painful.
Yeah.
Sensors are painful.
Stay right there.
Unethical.
Stay right there. We got to take a break. Stay right there. Oh my God. Ugh.
Hi folks, Ronnie McMullen here, talking to you about the immune system. As a talk show host, one of the major topics is health. It seems there are powers that be that want and desire the public to be sick. These are huge topics discussed on my show, but there is a way to combat this sick system. Life Change Tea. Life Change Tea is an all-natural product that gently cleanses your inside, gives you more energy, and builds your immune system. All organic and a natural weapon against toxicity. Customers have been buying year supplies to make sure they're prepared and healthy. Interested? You should be. Log on to getthetea.com. That's getthetea.com, or you can call us direct at 928-308-0408. That's 928-308-0408. On the Ronnie McMullen Show, these topics get covered. On the Get the Tea website, these topics are addressed. Get rid of the dis before ease. You'll just be left at ease. That's getthetea.com.
The day you were born, your brain and your body were in perfect form. From the moment you arrived on the planet, the aging process has taken its toll on each and every one of us. Dr. Joe McCord spent 40 years investigating the science of free radicals and aging, and his work has earned him the prestigious Elliott Crescent Award, an award given to scientists such as Nikola Tesla, Alexander Graham Bell, Henry Ford, and Orville Wright. Dr. McCord's discoveries in how to reduce oxidative stress with a product called Protandim may finally put practical immortality within our grasp. Try Protandim for 30 days, and you will see and feel why this is one of the most incredible discoveries of our lives. Visit gmnantiaging.com to learn about Protandim and how you can literally change your life in the next 30 days. RadiationDefender.com. After a nuclear disaster like Fukushima, you need to eliminate cesium-137 from your body. When cesium-137 travels through the air and contaminates the water, soil will be contaminated for the next 200 to 300 years. And if you take potassium iodide after you've ingested this cancer-causing radioactive isotope, it's already too late. It's impossible to remove cesium from your body with potassium iodide, and you should return it for a full refund to the vendor who sold it to you. RadiationDefender.com. Developed by food science researcher Mike Adams, this patent-pending proprietary formula of zeolites and other ingredients called Cesium Eliminator helps support your body's natural elimination of lethal cesium isotopes. RadiationDefender.com. Get rid of your potassium iodide and replace it with the only product on the market which can stop irradiating your body from the inside out. Cesium Eliminator. RadiationDefender.com.
Live from the Overthrow Bunker and FEMA Region 9, you're listening to The Pete Santilli Show.
this would have to be, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to say this right now, all right? Our connection to Darlene Miles, okay? Our connection to the information that came to us from Kenny, Jim and Kenny, all the stuff we've learned from the TIs, our partnership with FFCHS, all of this stuff is coming together. This episode right here, how we're tying all of this in together, talking about these UAVs, okay? Unmanned aerial vehicles, all right? And now talking about the smart technology, the censoring, the drones, everything coming together. Darlene, I'm serious. We're gonna pull you in really, really close here. Let me give you a couple of these items here. Smart tattoos. Tattoos are hip and seemingly ubiquitous. So why not smart digital tattoos? You know, it's going to be a hip thing to get a smart digital tattoo. Those are coming. There's a company called Dangerous Things. They have an NFC chip that can be embedded in a finger through a tattoo-like process, letting you unlock things or enter codes simply by pointing. All you need to do is just point, and you can unlock stuff. Here's another one. You ready? Brain-computer interfaces. We know that's coming. It exists. Meltable bio batteries that exist. Smart dust. I want to talk to you about smart dust. Hold on. And then here's a picture on the screen. Here it is, ladies and gentlemen. The all fearful verified self little glass vial transmitter. Implantables hammer against social norms. They raise privacy issues, of course, but the verifiable self is actually a transmitter. You ingest this thing or have it embedded in your skin, and it's an implanted RFID chip. Let me ask you something about this. These sensors, these GPS sensors. I'm dumb as a box of paperclips here sometimes, all right? When you said these GPS sensors, can nanoparticulates kind of be spread out, and maybe I ingest them, and then they can, through biotelemetry, communicate with me and have me on a GPS locator if they want?
Right.
They can.
GPS locator, they can be attached to your skin. They can be shot remotely from a drone over your home, right into your home. And if you feel it, the effect could be the feel of the stinging, like a bee sting. Or you can actually see it if you're looking at some idiot that's really shooting, because there's various types of nano sensors, passive, non-passive, medical, etc. If they strike metal, if they're really being buttholes and they strike metal, it can appear as though it's a small lightning bolt strike. That's a very sincere. That's one that is trying to inflict severe harm. Now, you had asked me a question before about how did I know, or I think you said investigation or something, but there were a group of investigators at the time that I left that government contractor back in 2009, and it happened that it was the year I was also promoting my book. Now, one thing had nothing to do with the other. I had just got sick of looking at corporations abusing consumer information, and I wanted consumers to know what they needed to do to start protecting their information. Now, and how much was out there? I didn't know until I did the background system that they were going into a government system. Homeland Security was so boisterous at that point, or fusion centers, which are in every state. It was so boisterous. I just knew that there was a lot of wrongs out there that needed to be righted, and that citizens could at least protect that information. Well, damn, out of all of that, this contractor, sub, and I'm going to say sub because he wasn't even a general contractor, did threaten me. But I couldn't say his name because if you just verbally give a threat that expect the unexpected, because I wouldn't accept his money, I just quit. I gave notice to quit, and I was injured in my spine. So you were asking how. So I had a first-time experience as to the danger, but still did not know the level of what these idiots could do to individuals' lives. I had to get a private investigator to investigate this man and his company and to see what these abilities were, because my property was being damaged. And I had been injured, and it was an injury to my spine that I still have to this day. So first-hand experience was that. Second was someone, and I didn't know who, because I've walked away from unethical contractors that were doing things I knew were wrong. And some of them were banks. And I've worked for every large bank, okay? I'm not saying every large bank is doing something unethical, but within every bank, there's a host of vice presidents who are responsible for marketing projects.
Right.
Some of them are no good, and some of them are great. So if that explains, because I don't want anyone to find out who the banks where I work for, build their systems, and say that those banks are not good. No, banks start out to do what is right. What has failed is everything that they now do in a bank has to also go to Homeland Security. Every transaction you create, every cash deposit you make, every time you go to make a deposit, a background check is run on you. You don't know that. That's required now by Homeland Security. So I could stop at least on that. But you asked, how did I know? How I knew was, one, firsthand. Two, I had to hire investigators, and one happened to have been former retired military. And these people, which now there's a host of 5 people who have helped and supported me with knowledge and expertise, even about some of the things and what Air Force bases they're coming from, because they don't want to see our country ruined either.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of patriots
with all citizens, and giving them valid documentation that they can read in their own words, DOD's own words, and then have them discern themselves and stop doing the things that they may have thought they were doing, which were correct, like law enforcement contracting, and all that you're doing is hurting other citizens unnecessarily and hurting yourself. 2, you're putting yourself and your family in harm's way to be tested on, and you don't realize it. And 3, to try to stop this by getting this information to those senators who keep signing this crap because they're getting tax money and corporate millions, and that's why they're still in Congress.
Wow.
That's why a good person can't run against them.
Yep, Darlene, you are literally God sent. I mean, you are straight up 1,000% GMN. I'm not just going to spring this on people later on and say, yes, Darlene, she's helping us out. I really, really want you to stay close to us. We need you so desperately. Society needs you so desperately. We need to share this information. I'm going to pull you closer to GMN. Okay, will you accept that? I mean, what do you do full time? By the way,
absolutely fine.
What are you doing full time?
It's really time for America to wake up.
Yeah, no, it's
time for our citizens to really know what's going on.
Yes,
and our citizens can change this. They can stop this right now. I mean, there are a lot of senators who've sat there on their rear end in Congress for decades. Some of them aren't even walking anymore. They're in wheelchairs. But yet and still they keep signing our lives away with this technology that is only about the greed of corporations. And one other thing I want to say before we run out of time as well. I had to pose this question to a couple of senators because I've given them Senate statements and I've given information on technology to senators who've asked me. I don't have to say names because I don't want to cause anyone harm. I would show you independently, but people have got to know that you have got to reach out to your own senators and you have got to force their hands to stop these actions. You have to outlaw drones over our cities and our states because right now they have signed to allow 30,000 drones between now and 2025. Right now there's about 8,000. There's one agency who owns about 2,000 of those. So this has got to stop. Every person is at risk. Everyone, even these senators, because they have to leave and go home. I mean, you live in a home. You have a roof.
You know, we can pass legislation at the local level, like nullifying the NDAA. We can outlaw the use of drones within our communities, right?
Absolutely, but when they're hovering 65,000 feet, that sometimes can cover the entire state. And who's going to assume the responsibility for that? FAA is responsible, and FAA is aware that this is going on, but FAA is under DOD as well. I think DOD right now, and sadly, and I'll probably have to deal with some ramifications for saying this, has too much power. They have power over our banking, our health care. They have power over our IRS. If they can ruin your life and you be stuck in bankruptcy, they have power over that. if you go to their website and look at their org chart, they have power over our civil rights and our civil liberties. But yet and still you create a directive to allow every citizen to be tested on? So I think that someone, some groups, and it needs to really start with the awakening of our senators, because I honestly really think there are good people in Congress. And those that are good really need to have the power to save this country.
Can I add something to? I'm going to do this in a Pete Santilli kind of way. By the way, if you want to be affiliated with GMN, you're just going to have to put your fire suit on when I start speaking like I'm about to speak. Okay? And I say this very, very sincerely to everyone. You need to accept the following. These so-called good people that you refer to, sure, there are good people in Congress and there are bad people in Congress. The good people need to start showing it. They need to step forward and show that they're on the side of people like me who are prepared to bring a whole bunch of people to Washington, D.C. and tell them, get out. Get your paper clips, get a picture of your wife, and it's now time for you to exit the building. And we can have all of them replaced with some good, honest, unemployed people, and our country would be better off in 24 hours. They need to vacate their offices. Now, before that day comes, they have an opportunity to step forward and say, you know what, the gig is up. The people have found out about us. I'm going to do what's absolutely right. Let's just start whacking away at legislation that's on, of, by, and for the people. They need to start stepping out right now because they're not.
No, they're not. And you know, one thing I want to leave, because I'm going to have to leave myself in about 5 minutes, and I don't know. I didn't know how long I'd be
10
on the
seconds.
call with you.
10 seconds left.
I want to pose this question, because I posed this question to several senators as well. Who creates such a directive that is set to cause harm to citizens? And I'm referring now back to that directive, DOD directive 5240.1-R, allowing for human experimentation on all U.S. persons and any foreigner on U.S. soil. Who creates a directive that is designed like the DOD drone joint targeting document that's only designed to target citizens, inject sensors? We used to worry about people being chipped and being harmed from microchips. Now you're saying you have all these sensors, and all you need to do is spray them. They're consumable. They can be shot into the skin through a roof, et cetera, et cetera.
Darlene,
and I can also share with people what they can do to kind of
this will not be the last time you'll be on this show. Darlene, thank you so much. I'll be getting in touch with you after the show later on today. Wow.
You can listen to the Pete Santilli Show on the Guerrilla Media Network Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern on GuerrillaMediaNetwork.com.